Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I want to introduce you to a new little project we're going to be working on in the shop. This is, I'm not going to call this a new machine day because I've actually had this machine sitting in storage and kind of in the background. You might have even seen it in shots in the shop here over the years because it's just kind of been sitting on the list of machines to restore. But I've actually had this machine for, I don't know, at least 15 years and just have not gotten around to working on it. What it is a double disc sander made by the Crescent Machine Company out of Latonia, Ohio. Can be used for metalworking. It's really probably more of a woodworking machine, but you would put a big sheet of sandpaper on this disc and it would rotate. There's a couple of tables that go on here that you can do at different angles. They are off of it right now. And this is a double disc sander. It's 24 inches in diameter. There's two discs, one on each side, so you can have two different grits. And these are great for jobs like pattern making, wooden pattern making for castings and stuff, which is I do from time to time. And I have needed this thing, I don't know how many times over the years, and just haven't had it finished, haven't had it worked out. So it's been on the back burner for a long time, but a couple weeks ago, Keith Hubbard, who is a person, some of you guys have probably seen some of my videos, young gentleman from down in Jacksonville, Florida. He came up for a couple of days to help me out in the shop, and he kind of tackled this machine. He kind of took it apart, started cleaning it up, doing some painting and whatever. There are some repairs that I'm going to have to do to this that I haven't gotten to. We'll have some videos on that coming up. Didn't really get any video of him working on it because there's just multiple things going on all at the same time, and we were just trying to get stuff done. The cameras were not running. But we did get it painted and partially put back together. And after Keith left, I came over and started wiring this thing up and realized, we got a problem. Actually, we realized that we might have a problem while we were putting it together, but once I got it together, I realized I have a problem. And now I'm going to take it back apart, and we got to do a little bit of work on the motor. Let me show you what's going on here. So I'll start off by saying that this machine was made, I don't know the exact year, I do know the serial number, I know the type of serial number tag it has. I know roughly a range of years. This machine was probably made between about 1938 and 1946. Very likely was made during World War II because that was when Crescent kind of beefed up their production for the war effort and a lot of stuff was being made. Before that was kind of the tail end of the Great Depression, not as many machines being made. Right after World War II, Crescent was bought by Rockwell Manufacturing. They bought up Delta, they brought up Red Star, they brought up a bunch of different companies at that time. And after that time, they continued making the Crescent machines, but they had a different serial number tag that indicated they were part of the Rockwell company, and this predates that. Anyway, point being that early 1940s is when this machine was likely built. And the wiring that's in here has got this cloth stuff on there. And when we took everything apart and started messing with it, the insulation on the wires was just crumbling because it's just so old. Before when we weren't messing with the wiring, it was fine because nobody was moving it. But when we took the parts off to get it cleaned up and went to put them back on, those wires became exposed. I did come in here with some heat shrink, hoping that I could kind of heat shrink these things together and avoid a problem, but I couldn't get the heat shrink all the way. There's maybe a half of an inch in there coming out of the machine to wherever I got to the heat shrink that doesn't have the heat shrink on it. And in those areas, whenever we went to put it back together, the insulation came off, and when I tried to fire this up, it just tripped the breaker because there was a short in there. So here's what we got to do. This motor, there's nothing wrong with the motor. The bearings in this thing are quiet. They seem to be working really good. But what I'm going to have to do is take this off. I've got a motor shop in town that they'll actually rewind motors. This motor does not need rewinding. At least I don't think it does. But I'm going to take this over to them and let them, I have had to do this on motors before. They'll basically go in, cut off the old wires with the bad insulation, put new leads coming out of it, and hopefully we'll be able to fire this thing up and run it. And while they have it, they'll check it out, and if there's anything else that needs to be done, we'll take care of that at the same time. Worst case scenario, we rewind the motor. This is a specific motor for this machine, so it's not like you can just change the motor out. And you can see the bearings in here seem to be pretty good. I just turned that by hand a minute ago, and it's still spinning down. So I think the bearings are probably fine, although probably wouldn't hurt to change them out while we got this thing in the shop working on it. So today what I want to do is I want to get the parts that we put on here back off, get this motor taken off, get it up to the motor shop and let them do their magic, and then we will have to reassemble all this when it comes back. And like I said, I got a couple of repairs on the tables that I need to do to get it all working. So to get this motor off, I first need to take the wheels off and the guards off. And there's 3 socket cap screws that hold the wheel in place. And then kind of back behind that, there's a machine part that fits up on a hub. So it won't just fall off whenever you do this. It kind of fits up on there, and then you line those up. So I'm just going to take those out real quick. I've had this off already. We're going to take it off again. So the socket cap screws will come out. There we go. And then this just kind of fits up on that hub in the back and comes out. Now there are 4 bolts here that kind of hold the guards on. These I'm going to use the gantry to kind of pick them up because they're just so heavy. I think what I'll do is I'm going to take a C-clamp or something and clamp on the top of this, and then we'll use the gantry to lift it up. There's nothing really to hook onto. I might mar my paint up, but I can fix that easy enough. So I just got a C-clamp holding that in place. Got a strap over to the gantry. We'll go ahead and pull this off. It's got 4. All right, there's nothing really holding this up, but I got tension on it right now. So that should come right off. And I can just set these out of the way. Yeah, they got some straps on that. Make sure everything's good. And we'll lift that up, get it out of here, and get that to the motor shop. And I will probably just wait till we get it back, and we'll finish this thing up. And while I got that off, I'm gonna get that cleaned up and repainted up underneath the bottom. Not that it'll ever be seen, but might as well. Well guys, the fun just never stops. So I took the motor by the motor shop, and a couple hours later I get a phone call from them, and they're like, well, we got a problem. And the problem is, well, there's a couple of problems actually, but right down here, this is where the bearing fits up on the shaft, and that is all galled up. It is in pretty rough shape. Also, the threads here where this piece comes up on are kind of galled up as well, and they were not able to get this piece off of this side to pull this one out to check the bearing on it. So I'm going to have to do some work on this to get this this piece fixed up. We're going to have to repair this shaft, get this one off over here. This is not really a motor that replacing the motor is really an option because of the way it's designed. It's kind of a built-in motor. Just not practical to try to replace it, so we're going to try to fix it. The good news is that the problem I took it in there for to replace the leads, that was no problem at all. In fact, when I went by to pick this up, they already had that fixed. I was not expecting this problem at all, but hey, we'll deal with it. I'm going to start by seeing if I can get this thing off. So there's 2 set screws that go in here. It looks like this one is out on this side, and they said they couldn't get the one out on this side. So let me see if I can dig around down in there, and it looks like it's just full of crud, and they couldn't get it out. Let me see if I can have any luck with it. I'm just taking a flashlight and shining down in there. Oh boy, okay. Just taking a pick here, seeing if I can pick this thing out. Huh. All right, this is interesting. So this is the one that came off the other side. I don't know what's going on. This one has 2 holes in it. one here and one here. They're both threaded, and there's a set screw that went in on each side. So on this one, I'm looking down in here. It's like it's drilled down, but I don't see where there's a set screw in there. The other one they got out. So I'm not sure what's going on. I think what I'm going to do is take this over to the vise and put a pipe wrench in this and see if I can turn it off. I'm not sure. It almost looks like they didn't drill this one through. I don't know. All right, I got this whole thing over here in the vise on my bench, and I'm just going to take a big pipe wrench here. I'm going to put on this end piece and see if we can get it to come off. There it comes. It's left-hand threaded. And that came off. There was a washer behind it. Those threads look pretty good. There is a flat milled in there for something to come up on. And that comes right off. All right, let's see if we can get this to come off. It's got a gear puller on it. And it does look like it's coming. There we go. And that journal looks just fine, which is good. All right, let me get this over on the lathe and see what we can do to clean it up. Well, I've got my weld positioner set up here with this arbor. We need to basically weld up, not all the way, but about to right here, so that we can come back in there and turn that back down to size. It is a little bit undersized right now, and we're just going to weld it up one layer at a time. I'm going to take my time with this. I don't want to get this journal, this shaft, too terribly hot. So I'll probably make a round or two and then I kind of let it cool down, make a round or two, let it kind of cool down, and just go from there. So anyway, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see. Basically the way this works is I got this thing set up. We'll make a round on here. We'll stop once we make a complete round. We'll move this up. I can move it up and down right here. We'll move it down, make another round on it, and so on until we get up to about where we need to be. So let's roll at it. Let me get suited up here, get my jacket on, my gloves on, my mask on, welding helmet on, and we'll be ready to roll. I've got this set up with a little button I push, and that's what actually turns it on. So I'm gonna get over here behind this where I can kind of control things and see what's going on. Let's see what happens. All right, I am going to reverse the direction that this is spinning, where I can see what's going on a little bit better. I'm going to raise up just a little bit, and we'll make another round. Go up another level. All right, I think we got that welded up. I'm just gonna let this cool down and we'll get it over in the lathe and see if we can get it turned back down to the proper size. Just a little bit over 1 3/8. So I think it was about a 2 thou larger than 1 3/8. So we'll get this cooled down. I'm not gonna quench it. I just wanna let it air cool, normalize, and then we will take it over to the lathe. I've let this cool down and we brought it over here to the lathe. I've got this chucked up in the 4-jaw chuck on this side, and I've indicated off this shaft to get it trued up on this end. We got it supported on this end by the center that was in the end of it, and now I need to turn this down back to the size it needs to be, 1 3/8, I think is what it is, but we'll get it turned out. So we'll just come in here and touch off on this. Get that cleaned up and hopefully get it turned down. We're getting down close. I'm just going to put a rough measurement here in the digital readout on the diameter. We're at 1.491. All right, 1.491 on the diameter. That's a rough measurement. The other thing I want to do is touch off on the shoulder right here. I'm going to zero that out on my Z-axis because I need to go in 1.475 is where a shoulder is going to be at on this thing. Right there. This just kind of gives me a visual. Keep on turning down here. Just make sure where we're at. 1.7586, 1.386, and that's what we're measuring on the digital readout. Again, going to 377, so we're real close. I'm just going to dial that in. I'm going to go just a little bit oversized and probably use some emery to take that last little bit in. On the depth. Turn that to that shoulder. Yeah, we're just about 1 thou oversized. I'm just going to use some emery and kind of polish it down to the right size. All right, that's right where we need to be. Now the end down here was just a little bit undersized, goes in 0.625, and that needs to be 0.366 in diameter, 1.366. I'm just gonna and again, it needs to going 0.625 from the end. A little bit. And the final thing here is I just need to turn that down a little bit on the shaft. Bit of a chamfer here on the end. And that shaft should be good. And the bearing is going to fit up in this area here, so should be good there. And this end down here is not going to matter at all, so we're good there as well. So this is the side that we fixed up. So this area here was all originally just worn down below size. It all turned out real nice. Yeah, the ends down here are a little bit scarred up still. I did not weld that up, so that's still the original surface, and this is the original shaft down here. This diameter really doesn't matter. It's not riding on anything or anything like that. So I've got the end back on the end. This is what the wheels kind of mount to. I just put them on there just to make sure everything was back together like it should. And this side I just put in the lathe. I just hit it with a little bit of emery cloth just to barely clean it up. It had some just discoloration and looked like they may have put some Loctite or something on there originally. I just kind of knocked all that off, and it's ready to go back to the motor shop, and hopefully they can get this thing put back together and we can get our machine back up and going. Well, and just like that, we've got our motor back. I took the shaft back up to the motor shop, and I took it up first thing this morning. I was there when they opened at 8, and they called me about 9:30 and told me they had everything back together and it was ready to go. So as you can see, we got new leads coming out over here. They completely replaced those, so we're in much better shape there. And they also went ahead and replaced the bearings in it while they had the shaft out, and was particularly with that one that was messed up. And they said they tested it and she ran super quiet, so that is good. So we got a few scuff marks on it. I'll clean it up here in a minute and give it a fresh coat of paint to fix all that, but no big deal at all. Let me get this motor down and get the guards back on and get some electrical stuff hooked up, and we can test it out anyway. Working on getting the guards put back on here, and I know somebody's going to probably notice and comment, hey Keith, you're putting them on backwards from the way you took them off. And just in case you were one that noticed that, yes, I am. You are absolutely correct, and there's a good reason for it. And that reason has to do with the direction of the rotation of the wheels on this, and the way that the hubs are threaded onto the shaft of the motor. Now, I noticed when we were working on this that, and you probably did too, that the shafts on the motor are threaded, and there's a hub on the end. Oops, I need to go the other way. There's a hub that mounts up on there, and then the actual disc mounts to the hub. And depending on which way it spins, it's either going to tighten or loosen that screw. Now, this has definitely been gotten into before. It's quite obvious that someone's been in here. And I think when they did, they put the guards on backwards so that as these were turning, basically you got the inertia of the wheel, and depending on the way that it's turning, it's either going to tighten or loosen that screw or that hub. One side is left-hand threads, one side is right-hand threads. I've got it now where as this is turning, it's going to be turning in a direction that will be tightening the screw on the hub so that there's just no chance of it coming apart. So anyway, just wanted to mention that because someone I'm sure will call me out on it. They always do. But that was done on purpose. And let me get these all put in. Let's see. And we'll get the actual disc back on there. Go ahead and put this back on here. There is a hub in there that this sits up on and tightens up on. There we go. And get my holes lined up for the socket cap screws to go into. And we'll tighten these up. And we'll do the same thing over here. So up next is some electrical work. I'm gonna get my paint out and touch up the paint on this a little bit where we scratched it in a couple places doing some of this. This is kind of the front of the machine where the electrical control should be. It's going to be spinning in this direction where everything will go down the back. I did, by the way, look in my catalogs that I have on Crescent, and indeed in the pictures you can clearly see down here on the base, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it says Crescent Machine Company. That's where the machine is badged at. It's cast into the casting, and it is shown where that side is facing out. The exhaust ports are on that side. Now the controls were on this side, which is a little bit confusing, but I think what I'm going to do is I really didn't like the way the controls were on this because you got all these wires down in the bottom of the control box. There's just not room for them. So I think I'm going to do is put a box on this side. I'm going to put a magnetic starter switch on this. The one that is in here is just kind of an on-off. It's not really magnetic. I would rather go with a magnetic controller, so I'm going to probably just mount that down on the bottom, and then I'll just put a remote switch on this side. So I'm going to redo the motor starter on this to kind of upgrade it, I guess you could say, a little bit more modern control than what was originally on it. I'm sure the one that's on there would work fine, but I just am a little more comfortable with the magnetic controllers versus the ones that you just manually push in and out. I will also note, I can't remember if I said this before or not, but when I bought this machine, the person that I got it from told me that there was a little shimmy in one of the discs on this where it was not running perfectly true, and he tried to explain it to me, and you know, I've been like, okay, what's going on with that? Is there something out of alignment on this, you know, not bolted down right where it's got a little wobble in it? Is there something going on with the shaft on the motor? Once we took it apart and realized that that bearing was spinning in there, I'm sure, or at least I'm very hopeful, that that was the problem. And when we fixed that shaft, that we took care of that issue as well. Well, guys, I think that's about as far as I can get today. We just pretty much ran out of time. I want to, when we get back on this project, I need to do the electrical work, get my magnetic starter, my starter button installed, all that kind of stuff. Also, have sent the original tags that I had on this machine that were in pretty rough shape off to Tom Utley at Von Industrial, who's the guy that makes my reproduction tags. He's working on getting some new set of tags for this, so that kind of should make this restoration kind of pop on out. So when all that stuff gets here, we'll continue on with this project, and move forward toward getting this Crescent double disc sander up and running. Guys, with that, that is going to be a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. Hit that bell icon up there to get notifications when new videos are posted. As always, a huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, etc. Really could not do what we do around here without your help. And with that, we are going to again sign off. We'll catch you on the next video. Again, as always, thanks for watching.